Hello everyone and welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. Just want to first make sure I send out a huge thank you to Bianca, who made this space possible to have the exhibit. Also the owner-director here, the Souterrain Gallery, as well as the Wish House above. And she has given me such a beautiful opportunity. And I also would like to thank Richard doing the filming today and for my family to be here. And for everyone in attendance here or from wherever on our live videos. So thank you for being here with us today. This has been such an honor to get my work out and shown since COVID times. A lot of these pieces were either just prior, a few years prior, throughout the COVID duration, which I was very highly secluded during because of my health and being careful with my lung condition. And then now also new work that has been reignited. Prior to COVID, I came up with a title, Obliette, and it stems from many places, but one of my last, my solo museum show at the Maida Museum in Waterbury was titled Entrances and Exits. And that title was something that came from dancing. We were always taught that when you first enter the stage, you're on, and you continue your performance until you are fully off and no one at all can see you. And those beginning and endings are the most important. I believe that relates to life. I think for all of us, the way we enter any situation in life and the way we leave it is the most paramount. So, being in the times that we're all in, worldwide, having the idea of oubliette, only one entrance, one exit, and it's the idea of being forgotten about, which is very common. A lot of people dealt with a lot of emotional baggage during this time. And some people, it really elated them and they were able to flourish in new ways, which is beautiful. And then we are now finding silver linings, those of us that did struggle. I hope everyone's finding a silver lining. I certainly have. But throughout that oubliette, I think a lot of the materials that I use in my work are also very much forgotten about. They're given new life. There's purpose to them, there's meaning, and there's a story. And it's that unspoken story that as a dancer I used to tell on stage, as a teacher, as any dance teacher would tell you. It's a story that you instill in your children to give to your audience. So as my career evolved into visual arts, I went through a Paint to the Music stage, which was wonderful because I was able to make myself comfortable performing and then also creating and showing how that energetic language translates. Whether it was with a musician, a singer, violin player, just background atmospheric music generated in response to my motions and also my motions in response to the sound. I think all of that, sound and vision, that's where we are today. So how beautiful to continue to honor that now. I get to do so, and I'm very privileged in a visual manner. So that has been a great joy to me. And the materials used, again, are often forgotten about, such as dried flower petals. We love to see the joy in a fresh bouquet of flowers on our counter. But we're also looking at these things after, ready to discard them when they die, when they dry. Whereas for me, that's when they have their best life. And that's when I want to give them life. So going through the work, a lot of the nostalgia nature of things, such as when we see a feather, what does that mean to you symbolically? What does broken eggshells mean to you symbolically? To me, it could be fragility, it could be fertility, it could be motherhood, a home, it could be that safety, or pulling those pieces back together and building strength. So my work tends to have the silver lining run through all of it, regardless of if it's sculpture or mixed media paintings, drawings, but it's storytelling to its core. My practice is very sacred to me. I call myself a ritual-based artist because every time I enter my studio space, or sometimes before I even get in there, I will begin with my practice, which is kind of a combination of a qigong, meditative moving way of energetically charging myself as a conduit, and also clearing my space with a smudging practice, as well as using blessing sticks such as Palo Santo and sweetgrass to cleanse and then rebalance the space. So I'm honoring the work that I'm doing and recognizing that the energy from our ancestors, the energy beyond us, the energy forward of us can come through. And as I say that, my hands get all tingly, and it might be nerves, but I also believe it's that good energy. But this is the practice. And the materials I claim range everything but the kitchen sink, because I literally was working next to my kitchen sink. In my smallest space, I created some of my largest work, and it was such a joy. They were 6 foot, 7 foot tall canvases, and we were in a 700 or less square foot apartment in Irvine, California. And I would pull my coffee grounds and the espresso that was left over, or wine and eggshells left over from breakfast, and that really became part of my work. And with my health condition, with my lungs, I have very high vitamin D levels. So for going outdoors is a big deal to me. It's not just, oh, let's go, prance around. And until I had my lung surgery, it was a no-go. I would get instantly sick. Over time, I continue to build my immunity and my strength to get through time in nature, because it is the most precious time to me. I don't know that I value it the same if I hadn't had it deprived for such a long time and continually. So I cover up, I find a way, but then I gather bits of nature, such as the wheatgrass, and my friends know this now, so I get beautiful gifts of hydrangea petals, my dear friend Amy, and steel cut nails from the houses over time we've owned, one of which was 150 years old in Naugatuck, Connecticut, finding skeleton keys and steel cut nails and just rusted parts and even rusted brake pedal remnants on a walk on the side of the road, because who knows if it flew off or was left there. But those things tend to find me, or I find them, and I love that I can give a new life to that. And there is my studio dog, Eros, making sure he's not ignored. Yeah. Can't go without acknowledging him. He's with me every day. And so overall, this idea that this oubliette that we maybe all touched onto at some point during the past 2 years, it was a time of self-reflection. And I believe, no matter if it's my artwork or someone else's, that when you look at artwork, you're bringing yourself to it. You're seeing your reflection. So what I see as I look at work, or my symbolic story, is going to be read differently every time as you look at it. Whether, again, my artwork or someone else's, we're bringing ourselves to that. You're seeing yourself in that. So a lot of the reflective qualities or the metallic pearlescent qualities are a nod to see yourself in that. Also, even though a lot of the work is archivally sound, some of the organic matter will change over time underneath those sealed layers, and I love that. Actually, I have a piece that had purple rose petals in it, and those petals have since turned more to a rust tone. And I feel as we change, it's okay for the art around us to change. It's, again, part of that self-reflection. So it's been an honor to share the work here. I value the fact that I'm able to use my hands, have my energy, be out in nature when I can, and to have the most beautiful people in my life as a result of sharing my work. I would have never shared my work until I was in my 20s and my husband encouraged it. And I don't want to cry. After selling a few pieces and sharing them with people that were important in my life that had left an impression on my soul, I realized the importance of doing that the work was no longer selfish, that it was something to be shared. So thank you all so much. I'm going to open the floor in case there's any questions, whether it's storyline-based, material-based. Everything to me, I could probably write a book of the symbolism of each material, and for me that's been an inspiration I kind of draw from within myself as I create new work now, because I believe I'm an encyclopedia of it. So, but thank you all so much for being here. Any questions? Yes?
Your work has a very strong graphic nature. And
thank you.
A lot of it is very powerful. There seems to be like so much something under there. And I've heard your talk, and but can you talk a little bit more about this? One thing I see pervades every piece is a very strong sense of graphics, but there's a power in these images. There's sometimes subtlety, but it's very strong.
Thank you.
So I'm curious where that power that I am seeing is coming from.
So interesting that you mentioned that. So as a child, my parents were divorced when I was very little. I was too young to talk about my feelings. I was around the age of 3, or 2 to 3, I believe. But my mother was smart and put me into therapy, and I would go in and I would be given paper and crayons and pencils and say, draw how you feel today. And that's what I did. And ever since then, I became obsessed with that. And it was like I would walk in the door from school and I had my beanbag chair in my room and my sketchbook. And I would just, it was almost obsessive, especially from about, well, as soon as I started school through beginnings of high school. I actually didn't take art classes in high school because I began dancing and doing more singing and bands and theater type of work and English studies. But that was a huge part of who I am, is drawing out those feelings. So when I begin a work, I begin with a fluid backdrop. I think of it like a dance stage. Our backdrop creates a scene. The curtain opens and we have an atmosphere. So for me, looking up at the clouds for some of us, we'll see, oh, that's a dinosaur. That looks like a heart. And here is that chord background that I oscillate and literally dance with, still tying into that roots of where I'm from. And then the line work comes in from my childhood of that telling the story and finding what I'm trying to see and bring it out in the storytelling. And then from there, I actually studied a licensed massage therapist. I was in New York State as another degree that I had, but that practice taught me more to sense, it's about evoking the senses. So for me, working is so much with my hands and feeling what I'm doing. So after the line work and that graphic, as you mentioned, gets applied, now it's just like an audience. How do you direct the eyes? Where is the focus? Where is the support, the embrace of that piece? So I'm constantly trying to choreograph or conduct the surface, whether it's a sculpture or a painting, as to where the eyes should lead for that story. Otherwise, the story would be kind of all over the place, and that would really be abstract. So thank you so much for your great question. And Pete, if you see any questions on live too, please let me know if anything comes through. Is there any other questions or comments?
I was wondering if you could talk about the eggshell piece.
Sure. Actually, I should be able to bring that up here. 1 second.
I don't want to touch it.
Oh, you're fine. They're not
No, I don't want to drop it.
They're not as fragile as they look. I'll bring it up to the cameras real quick as well. In case you can see. So everyone can kind of see what we're discussing. So as mentioned with this symbolically, being about fragility, fertility, a safe home, a place of warmth, safety, we can be broken and victorious all at the same time. It's really important we recognize that just because we feel pulled apart doesn't mean we can't pull it back together in that same breath, you know? Inhale, pull it together. Exhale, release what we can't do anything with that's out of our control, out of our balance. And so the Qigong practice is very much like an eggshell. It's that idea that you're inhaling, and as your arms are rising, you're bringing things in, all the goodness. And as you're exhaling, you're letting go of what you don't need anymore. And that's being recycled. So as I send it out, I send it to hopefully be recycled and nurturing to someone that needs that energy that is no longer good for me personally. And I think if we all tend to just keep sending that love through, that energy gets supercharged. Hence why I really believe in this in my work. It comes from a very, very sacred place within me to do that. So, but with the eggshells, they're coated, and oftentimes I make them pearlescent coating. Again, that self-reflection, and they're cupped like a convex. So you're getting to see, as you move around that, a 3D effect, which they genuinely have. But also they're placed like a puzzle, so it's very meditative to place those. I have some very large pieces that, again, 6-footers, that have these eggshells where I feel like I'm doing Mission Impossible with tweezers. You know, hovering over and like tiptoeing, hand on a wall, the other hand placing the eggshell. And it's just like with the graphics, with the line work, it's a meditative thing for me. I get outside of myself and I can just let whatever's supposed to come through me come through versus just being about me. So, but that story, I think this is genuinely showing about those pieces of ourselves pulling together, because we don't really know our strength until we're broken. Thank you. Anything else? Did you work out today?
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you for being so kind.
My pleasure.
Sorry for the pause there. It's been an absolute joy having you all today and for taking time out of your lives to be here. And I hope that there's something that you can leave with today that was in some way a gift to yourself personally, or a gift you can pass on to others. And I just send you all so much loving, wonderful energy. Be creative, give of yourself. People need it. People need pieces of you. Thank you so much. I got nervous, could you tell? I could feel my voice shake. I haven't done this in a while, COVID times. I used to be okay, and now I'm like, wow, I'm actually nervous today. Thank you all again so very much, and really for the beautiful questions. What a joy that was to think beyond my nerves. You helped me a great deal.
That's it.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you so much, Richard.
Oh, no problem.
thank you.
Glad you all showed up. And her artwork is amazing.
Oh, so is yours, Richard. Thank you for doing all you do.
Okay, and that's it. From the Souterrain Gallery in West Cornwall, the Amber Maida show, and her talk.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Ah.